Hello, guys. Today I'm doing a book review on The Night Circus. I'm going to do a summary first of the book, spoiler free, and then I'll do the spoilery discussion and I'll break it down to writing, plot, and characters. Once we hit the spoilery section, I'll warn you so you can either leave or continue the video. This book to me is the best book that has found its way into my hands. After reading The Night Circus, it feels more like the book found me than the other way around. I don't know how to explain it in any other way. I can't believe I'm being so cheesy either, but here we are. Anyway, this book made me feel part of the story, the ambience that the writer created. I've never experienced anything like it. I think that's why the book has become my favorite book right now. The Night Circus is a book about a traveling circus that suddenly appears in different cities at midnight. A monochromatic circus with several tents, each with its own attraction, and followed by many admirers around the world that call themselves dreamers, or the French word for that. And they wear a red accessory to clash with the monochrome theme of the circus. This circus also serves a venue to a game or duel between two magicians. These magicians do not know the identity of each other or any of the rules of this game. The game or duel is not actually about a physical battle between the two, but about the circus and how to use the magic on it. The game is actually set up by other two magicians that just want to prove a point with a duel to the death that it's not between them. I guess that's as vague as I can be. It's not really easy to explain the plot of this book. This book is about magic, a circus, a little bit of romance. The book is neither romance heavy or fast paced. I would say it's a journey where you take every experience you get along the way. But the book itself felt very alive to me. I like to think that I'm a dreamer, but this book was every dream and every smell and every emotion. And I don't know how to recover when I'm not visiting and discovering new rooms anymore. This book is a book that you savor slowly, so it might not be for every reader because it's not fast paced at all, but that makes total sense because you are visiting the circus and looking at each detail and falling in love with it slowly. So just go and read the book, that's all I can say. Please, I cannot stress this enough. If you're a fellow dreamer, this is it. Welcome to the spoilery section. Welcome to the dark side. Please vacate the premises if you do not want to be spoiled for this book. That's your last warning. So, beginning with the writing. Even if it was a fairy tale being told to me, even if there were enchanting chapters where I was visiting the circus, I could never fathom I'd ever want to be part of the dreamers or rêveurs, or however the hell you are supposed to say it, as much as I want right now. Even if I feel like Bailey, not knowing whether or not I was part of that group, but when being asked, do you adore the night circus more than anything in the world? The only answer is yes. I loved the atmosphere of this book, and I thought the writing was very intelligent and just beautiful. I think Erin Morgenstern was very smart and creative in putting those little bits before the chapters where you, the reader, were visiting the circus. It's one of my favorite parts of the book, and all the attractions she came up with for the circus, the whole theme of it, the way she described everything just makes you really live the story. She is a very talented writer. Plot-wise, I would like to begin by saying, although I'm right now in the post-high of finishing a great book and not knowing exactly what to do with myself, I would review this book a 4.7, 4.5 stars. And it is my favorite book right now, Don't be mistaken, but simply put, for all of its greatness, a full chapter explaining the intricate process of clockmaking can be quite draining. That's the only chapter that took way too long to finish, and I know exactly what I've said before, that it's really slow paced, but still. Other than that, we had a very rich cast that also felt very real, but all the chapters without Celia, Marco, or Puppet and Widget by the middle felt dispersed and a bit lackluster, in my opinion. Only the ones at the end where the deaths occurred actually made the mystery grow, but that might be just me. The romance was great. I loved how they were trying to figure out who was the opponent they had to face, even though Marco figured it out quicker, but he had leverage. On that front, I loved how they first met and how they loved the additions that each had made to the circus, and how that actually ended up representing their love story. That was my favorite part about the whole romance. But there was also little of it now that I look back. Not that having little romance is bad, I just craved for more, honestly. Them being apart as soon as they got together because Tsukiko thought it would be the best course of action made me feel robbed of something, of their time together. It was very ephemeral in a way, even though the ending made their love immortal, I guess. I find I'm not very eloquent reviewing this book. I think it's because it greatly affected me emotionally, and I don't know what else, but yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble. However, I do understand that in the end, this book ends up being about time. Even though they didn't age and much didn't change besides Puppet and Widget, whom became the future of the circus, it still felt as though they were running out of time. Each little moment Celia and Marco were together was precious. Precious, for there weren't many of them. Precious because they both came from rough backgrounds and were thrusted into a foreign world, and they deserved it for all of it and more. But clearly, this was meant to be beautiful and tragic, so I shouldn't complain. The whole plot, in my opinion, was moved by the game. And the more Celia and Marco knew about each other and fell in love, the closer we were getting to its conclusion, which makes total sense. I'd like to point out the Tsukiko plot twist. I really liked it. It was rather sad when she revealed that she had been on a previous iteration of the game, but it added to the story and how her counterpart had killed herself in order for Tsukiko to win the game. It was really, really sad. But now I'm a bit curious with all the previous games and venues that happened before this story. But the thing is, I also think I love this story because it's a standalone. That's not something that we see a lot in YA anymore. Not that this book is really YA, I wouldn't know where to put it, but the characters. I loved the characters. My favorite were Celia and Marco, and then Puppet and Widget. I loved that Celia was a strong character, and yet she didn't become jaded even after everything she went through. Marco felt very much like the reader because he asked all the questions we did, and he was pretty much in on it blind, I would say, more so than Celia. Puppet and Widget really felt like they were the end product of a child of this circus in particular. And Bailey's character hit really close to home because all he wanted was to pursue what he loved. And I think that's what we all want. All in all, they were all really special characters in a fantastical setting like this, which is what I love the most. Bringing reality through the characters. A little sidebar now at the end, I would like to talk about three characters in specific. The first one, Hector Bowen, a vile, vile creature which I haven't finished business with. I hate him So much. The writer did a great job setting him up as a villain, even though there isn't a defined villain in this book. I think the game in itself can also be considered a villain, honestly. But Hector or Prospero or whatever the name he wants to have, I mean, Celia was better without a father than him, than this excuse of a man. I wanted retribution so bad, even though Alexander explains that whatever Hector has done to himself is not the immortality he was seeking and that he'll grow frustrated with it. It still bothers me. It bothers me what he did to Celia, what he might have done to all of his other students, students that preferred to end the game by killing themselves. I hate that he was intangible for a great part of the book. There has never been a more punchable character, I swear. In addition, Alexander being called a father at the end of the book didn't sit well with me. Yes, he was more of a decent tutor and seemed to truly feel sad for Marco and what might have become of him and Celia after knowing that they were in love. But he left Marco alone for most of his life. He sent him on excursions and made him read books, but there was very little contact. He also was as vague as Hector, never revealing much of anything, which was infuriating for both the characters and also me as a reader. But I understand that plot wise. But I still don't like him. And to add insult to injury, he has also always agreed to these stupid life threatening games that ended up being nothing but two ancient creatures, him being one of them, trying to prove which school of thought or method of magic was best. And he is still called a father. I have many problems with that. My final note is on Isabel. I felt very conflicted when Marco and Celia's relationship started to become serious, and poor Isabel hadn't had any resolution. It felt heartbreaking how she called herself a distraction, but it's exactly what it feels like in the book. Once the circus starts, Marco and Isabel's relationship is just a background fixture, and it's sad. And it seems it only existed so Tsukiko could plant doubt onto Celia's mind, and I hate that. Marco didn't seem to change as a character after meeting Isabel. It felt like her only purpose was truly to become a device to drive them apart. And I think that's why I rate the book between 4.5 and 4.7. I think it's the only thing that I really would point out as a bad aspect. So, my final thoughts. All in all, this is the Book of Dreams, of a Circus of Dreams. I loved how the circus was such a staple. Honestly, it felt like a character as well, especially because it changed and improved, and it also changed all the people that worked there and the people that visited as well. So, I just I just love this circus. I felt like I lived there and it's really great writing and storytelling. That's all I have to say. And if I had to pick, I would love to have Marco's powers of being able to make my own worlds, my own well crafted illusions. That should be fun. But for that, we also have wondrous books like this one. Well, there you go. That's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me your thoughts and feelings on it. Maybe tell me which ability you would like to have. Marco, Celia's puppets or widgets. That's it. Thank you for watching and goodbye, guys.